Just going for a little ride on Jerry's 2021 Multistrada V4S. It's now done about 7,500 miles. It's on the original tyres, and they still have some tread life left in them, probably good for 8,000, maybe even 9, who knows, which would be technically when the next service is, although this will be serviced much sooner because Jerry's bike was the first in Georgia, is subject to the recall. They already put Ducati already put a box fresh crate engine in the mail to the dealership, even before they told him actually his bike was affected. So they are acting very professionally so far, and the compensation package is good. 1,500 in accessories, 3 years servicing, which will be the 600 mile, the 9,000 mile and the 18,000 mile, and Jerry will do that in two years easily. And also they will invoke the radar cruise and blind spot monitoring free of charge, which normally is $850 plus your labour and tax, so about £1,000 saved there as well. Now this is in touring mode at the moment with automatic suspension, and second time I've ridden the Multistrada. For those that follow my channel, you'll know that I actually have a full on order, and the full is comes with an Akropovich exhaust system and a carbon fibre front mudguard, and some fancy paint, basically red, white and black paint, and looking forward to getting that. It was due to be in May, and now it'll still probably be May, I think, but probably delayed a week or two. No biggie. Very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a great all-round bike. The ride quality on this is absolutely sublime. Having just stepped off the Street Fighter ahead, you don't miss the power so much at 208 horsepower, because obviously you're not using all of that all of the time. But you notice the slightly taller front wheel. Never an issue, get used to it almost immediately, but it's noticeable. And also the ride quality and the mid-range punch is awesome. Super creamy smooth. It's very, actually the mid-range punch isn't too dissimilar to the Street Fighter, and on paper it's very similar. It may even be slightly punchier, but of course it's slightly heavier as well, so that's always a thing to note if you're coming from a lighter bike. These adventure bikes seem big and heavy, but if you're coming from, say, a BMW 1250 GSA, which I've just sold, for instance, then it actually feels quite very light and nimble, actually. Very nice. I'm just going to wave Jerry through here on the Street Fighter. Wow, that's a good looking bike, isn't it? Although I am a little biased, obviously. But it's some nice little twisty bits here, so I thought I'd let Jerry have some fun on that. Not that I'll be holding him up on this. This is so flickable, and I've said it before in videos, and you'll read it in the tests, but that reverse spinning crank really you know, really helps with the inertia in terms of turning the bike from side to side. The big wide bars that are quite high, obviously, that really helps as well. So you'll see from another video an owner's perspective on the recall what Jerry thinks. He's pretty happy with the way Ducati are conducting themselves, and I'm pretty happy. I have no intention of cancelling my order. I'm very much looking forward to getting this bike. The Ducati Connect multimedia does seem a bit glitchy to us. Sometimes it will connect, sometimes it won't. I'm sure they'll fix that in the future firmware update. But really that's the only gripe. And of course very few of the very early bikes, and this is the first one in Georgia as I said, were affected by the recall. but certainly my bike, you know, which won't be here for at least a month, maybe longer, should not be affected at all. So and also Eric's, one of the other Ride On crew members, he's got one order exactly the same. And for those that are familiar with Pop's coffee shop and fabrication company, Pop's has got one on order as well. Some of the other crew are actually thinking of ordering one. So very, very, very popular bike this year, and you can see why, because when you ride this thing, it's just so smooth, so comfortable, so effortless. You know, the quick shifter is awesome. I think quite literally the only thing Jerry criticised it is that, I don't know if you can see that, but the fuel lights just come on. The economy is not the best, and range will typically, it's hard to say because he doesn't keep accurate records of it like I might, but it's probably around about 180 miles. He's kind of hunting for a gas station, which is okay for most people. Might get a bit wearing on if you're doing 400 or 500 mile days on a 2-week touring vacation, but you know, as they say, you've got to stop and stretch your legs down there, right? Absolutely. Beautiful day. This is actually Easter weekend. It's Easter Sunday, and we've just been for a nice ride on our coffee stop, and we're out having fun now. It's nice. So I think probably at this part of the ride I'm supposed to give the bike back to Jerry, but I'm having too much fun at the moment. Not that my Street Fighter isn't absolutely awesome, it's very, very good. But it's nice to have a proper ride, because the first ride I had on this was very short, very brief, and it was enough to know that, wow, this is something special. It could be bike of the year, which the specs and the reviews to date already tell you. There's such a big improvement to little things like this. Single finger up and down for the screen. So that super clear TFT clocks, the unbelievably smooth quick shifter, and it's a Ducati V4, and wow, Ducati V4 engines are very special for sure. Nice of that man, just wave us through with his Julie. For those of you not in America, Julie is a truck with the 4 wheels on the back axle, kind of commercial grade. What a beautiful road this is. Absolutely loving this. This is what we see in the country. People out on their dirt 4x4s. Now Jerry's just come back from well, he did a trip to Texas and New Mexico, come back, and went to Arkansas and come back, which is why the bike is up to the best part of 8,000 miles in 2 months. And he said, I asked him what the longest day was he'd spent in the saddle, and he said 600 miles, and he said I could have just kept going, it's effortless. And I can understand that. Being sat here, it's kind of like being sat in a giant hand that's just cupping your backside neatly. Somebody spent a lot of time working on the shape of this seat and the ergonomics, believe me. The old one the 1260L twin used to really pitch you forward in a totally racy position. It was okay if you were going mental. It was clearly, you know, clearly somebody with a Panigale had been put in charge of the comfort and ergonomics. But when you had to do the slow boring stuff and you were trundling behind traffic at 20-30 miles an hour, it was really not good. And personally, I didn't like the way that bike steered. To me, if you're on a bumpy off-camber downhill section and you'd overcooked it, it would really understeer badly on the brakes, and I couldn't hold a line, which I didn't like. This is kind of fairly familiar feeling to me with the 19-inch front wheel, because I've spent so much time in the saddle of R1250 GS Adventure, and you get very much used to how that steers after a while. And yes, it's not Street Fighter, but it's very predictable, it's very smooth, very easy to live with. And I know this bend we're going into here is very, very bumpy, and you feel it on the Street Fighter. Despite the electronic O-rings, it's still a stiffly sprung bike, that. And this is just an armchair. It's like the Lazy Boy armchair I've just sold. It's very, very super comfortable. When I say Lazy Boy armchair, I literally mean a Lazy Boy armchair recliner I just sold. I just got a new chair for the living room. Anyway, signing off, but all is good. Loving the bike.
Hey you, if you want to become one of the Ride On people, don't forget to subscribe. Ride often, ride carefully, ride on.